In this video, we will discuss about the simple annuity due. So simple annuity due means that the payments will be done at the beginning of the period and interest compounding period and payment period will be the same. So future value, to calculate the future value of simple annuity due, we will use this formula PV, FV and due. It is denoted by FV and due and it is equal to PMT 1 plus I exponent n minus 1 over I times 1 plus I, whereas PMT, I and n has its usual meaning. Calculate the future value of $100 payments at 6% compounded annually made at the beginning of the year for 4 years. So payments are done every year beginning and interest is compounded annually. So payment period and interest compounding periods are same, whereas the payments are done at the beginning. Therefore, it's your simple annuity due. Now we will identify what are the parameters given. You have to find the future value where $100 payments, that is PMT is $100. I is 6% compounded annually, 6 over 1, and N is for 4 years. Every year for 4 years, that is N is 4. So we will substitute that in this formula and following the BEDMAS rule, we will calculate so that we get 463.71. You can try your own and try to see, calculate and see whether you are getting the same result or not. You can also try it using the financial calculator. So let's see how to do it using the financial calculator. So for solving the simple annuity due problems in financial calculators, just the same procedure you have to do for what you did for ordinary simple annuity. But before that, you need to set your calculator in beginning mode. So how you will do it in beginning mode is you will press second, then begin, second, then set, second, and then quit. So it will convert from simple annuity to simple annuity due, that is from end to beginning. And again, from beginning to end, you need to follow the same steps, that is second begin, second set, second quit. It will again go back to your payment at the end. Right, so this one we will do it using the financial calculator. So Frank deposited $50 at the beginning of each month for 4 years into a savings account. For the next 8 years, he made no further deposit but left the money in the account. The savings account paid interest at 4.5% compounded monthly. What will be the balance after the first 4 years? So here the payments are done at the beginning of each month for 4 years. Only for 4 years the payments are done. So that is, I will show you in the whiteboard what it is saying. So that means the first 4 years the payments are done right. So $250 at the beginning of every month for the next 4 years. And the next 8 months, there is no deposit. The first part, what you have to find is what will be the balance at the end of the 4th year. So we have the PMT given, we have N given, and we have I given. So we will use the future value formula of the simple annuity due to calculate what is the value at the end of 4 years. We'll use the financial calculator to calculate it. So first thing we will set it in beginning mode. So we will press second, beginning, second, set, second, quit. So we can see BGN on the top of the calculator. That means your calculator is in beginning mode. Now we will set the P over Y and C over Y. So it is monthly payment. So second P over Y is monthly and C over Y is also monthly. So we have it is as monthly. Now we will enter the data how we enter in the previous one. So your PMT is 250 and N is 12 times 4. So it is 48 as N, I as 4.5%, PMT as 250, and 0 as present value, and you need to find compute future value. So you will get 13170.16209. So you can round up till 2 decimal place, but because we are going to use this in for further calculation, you can keep all the decimal place as it is. So we got the future value as 13170.76. Now we have to find the balance after 12 years. The first 4 years there was deposit, so we got the future value, and then next 8 years there was no deposit. So this deposit, and then this 8 years the money was remain in the bank, but there was no further deposit. So you will find out what will be the value of this value after 8 years. And how you are going to calculate it is using the simple compound interest formula. That is PV1 plus I exponent n. So PV is the amount what we received after 4 years, and you invest it for another 8 years. So your n will be 8 times 12, which is 96, and I will remain same, which is 0.00375. So after calculating, you should get 18,864.47. And for the third part, how much in total he deposited? So he deposited $250 every month for 4 years. So 250 times 12 times 4, which is equal to $12,000. And how much interest will have been earned? So 12,000 he deposited and he is received 18,864 after 12 years. So the difference is the interest what he received, that is 6,864.47. Now the present value of simple annuity due, for that we will use this formula. So the same annuity formula along with that 1 plus I here, where PMT is the regular payment, I is the periodic rate of interest, and N is the total number of payments. So looking into an example, what is the cash value of a 3-year lease of office facilities renting for 536.50 payable at the beginning of each month if money is worth 9% compounded monthly. So here your present value you have to calculate because it's a cash value of a lease of a office, right? So lease problem will be always the present value. You need to calculate the present value where PMT is 536.50, N is every month payable for 3-year lease, so 3 times 12, and I is 9% compounded monthly. So payment also is monthly, interest compounding period is also monthly. So therefore, it's your simple annuity due because the payments are done at the beginning. So you will substitute in the formula and follow the BEDMAS rule to calculate, and you should receive 16,997.75. So the same way we can calculate the PMT. So if you know the future value or if you know the present value, so we will use the first or second formula respectively to calculate the PMT, or you can use the financial calculator by just setting it to the beginning mode and entering the data the way how you use to calculate for ordinary simple annuity. The same way you will calculate for simple annuity due. Only the calculator should be in beginning mode. So let's see what it is saying. How much will you have to deposit into an account at the beginning of every 3 months for 12 years if you want to have a balance of $100,000 in 20 years and interest is 8% compounded quarterly. So you want a balance at the end of 20 years, but you are depositing for 12 years only. First 12 years you are depositing the money and you know the balance after 20 years. So this is 12 years. You know the balance after 20 years, it is $100,000. So you have to find how much you should pay here so that you can have $100,000 after 20 years. Right, and now to find the PMT here, either you have to know the present value or you need to know the future value. But in this case, you don't know anything. You know only the value after 20 years. So you will find out first this value. That is, if $100,000 you will get after 20 years, so what will be the value at 12 years? That is, what is the value 8 years back? So 8 years back, because there is no deposits means it's not an annuity. So you will use the compound interest formula to find the present value because you are going back in time. So you will use the present value formula to find what is the value of $100,000 8 years back. So your formula is PV is equal to FV 1 plus I exponent negative n. So future value is 100,000. I is 8% compounded quarterly, so 8 over 4. Now N is your for 8 years because this is your 8 years. So 8 compounded quarterly, so 8 times 4, which is 32. Right, now we have to calculate it and you will see that you are getting the value as $53,063. Now, this value, we know that this value you will get at the end of 12 years. So if this is the value you will get at the end of 12 years, what will be your PMT? So that means this is your future value and you will use the future value formula to find the PMT. So future value is this one, I is the same, only n you need to decide because n is now 12 years. So for 12 years you are paying the regular payment. So your n value will be 12 times 4, right? So 12 years and every 3 months you are paying so quarterly payment. So 12 times 4, which is 48. So you will calculate this to get the PMT. You can also use the financial calculator to calculate this one step by step. The same way we will find the N for simple annuity due. So for simple annuity due and ordinary simple annuity, only the difference is the payment period where the payment is done in at the end in the ordinary simple annuity and payment is done at the beginning in the simple annuity due. Right, the calculation wise it is the same. So total number of payments for that is n. If you have future value, so you will use this formula. If you have present value, you will use this formula. So how long can you withdraw $480 at the beginning of every 3 months from a fund of $9,000 if interest is 10% compounded quarterly? So here the present value is given, which is $9,000. $480 is your PMT given. Beginning of every 3 months, that is quarterly payment. Interest also compounded quarterly, 10 over 4. And you have to find N. So this is your present value. So using the present value formula, you will find n. Make sure that you calculate n and round up to the next integer always. So try it using your own to calculate it and see what answer you are getting for this one. So you can all try it using the formula. You can also try it using financial calculator.